It's been 2 weeks since we podcasted. Last time we podcasted, it was right before our anniversary party, and it was a rousing success. So thank you all that came in and participated, whether you did in store or online or just sent us well wishes. It was a very wonderful event. And it was also quite exhausting, which is why I took the next week off of podcasting because, I was just exhausted. And then we had the time change, and I don't know about you, but the time change hit me hard. I feel like I'm just now getting used to this time change. It's been a rough, kind of look like I have some bags under my eyes right now. And actually this looks a little off. Okay. Hopefully that looks good. Anyway, welcome, and thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Sharon Graff, and I own the Modern Skein, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you have either been watching and are enjoying the episodes, or if you're a new viewer, welcome, and I hope you enjoy what you see. If you do, we'd love a subscribe, thumbs up button, somewhere down here, thumbs up, like, get notifications so you can be notified when the next podcast is up, and all the things. So grab a warm beverage. In my case, it's a cup of coffee. And, or I guess a cool beverage too. It's warm outside. It's wonderful. I love the warm weather. And I know that's weird. I sell yarn and sweaters, that sort of thing for a living. But I do love the warm weather, personally. And there's a lot of warm weather knits and crochets and stuff that you can do. So let's dive right in and start with finished objects like we usually do. However, yet again, I do not have a personal finished object to show you. However, through the magic of television or the magic of sample knitters and crocheters, we do have a finished object to show you. So this right here, look how cute this is. So this is a crocheted cowl. The pattern is called Lucid Waves by Amy B. Stitched. And this was crocheted for us by Tanea. Whoops. One of our, don't mind the hair. Did not have time this morning to zhuzh up the hair. This was crocheted by Tanea, one of our fabulous crochet sample stitchers. Look how cute. Just a perfect little lightweight something to have around your neck. You could, of course, end up crocheting it longer if you wanted, adding just another couple more repeats. This is crocheted to pattern, so it's more of a snug fit, kind of designed to come up over your face should you want a little, over the nose if you're still in a cold weather, or maybe you've gotten the chance to go somewhere skiing or anything like that. It's great for that. Or you could add an extra repeat or two and make a more open drapey cowl. So this was actually designed and then crocheted in as well the Red Stag Fiber Estate Fingering base. And this used up not quite a whole skein. So there would be plenty left to do, I believe, at least one more, if not two more repeats before having to buy an additional skein. This color is the Antique Rose, which is just that perfect antique, dusty kind of rose petal look. So that is our one and only finished object. I'm going to put my sunglasses back on. I just feel like it makes my outfit look my hair look a little more like it's on purpose rather than not. We had crazy thunderstorms roll through this morning, and we power flickered on and off, and it was just a crazy morning. Did not even get a chance to work out. The thunder and lightning and the rain were so hard and heavy. I was like, I can't even get out there. And then they were like, tornadoes imminent. I'm like, no. So, I'll be going this afternoon. So, for works in progress. Let me start off with this. Every now and again, if you've watched enough past episodes, you'll remember, it's actually around this time last year, I got into a little bit of a knitting funk. Actually, I guess it was closer to April. Because right when lockdown and everything started for us last year, I was like a knitting machine. I was cranking out stuff to beat the band. And then, boom, lost my knitting mojo. Well, it's kind of happened again, which is kind of crazy. I have no idea what causes it because I still have the desire to knit. None of my current whips interest me. I know, first world problems. And I have a really hard time sitting down and picking up the needles. I can sit down. Clearly, I'm sitting down right now. But I have a hard time picking up the needles. So, I'm going to show you my works in progress. But there has not been hardly anything done on any of them. And some I haven't touched in a couple weeks. There are still patterns that I want to do. And I want to complete these. It's just right now, the mojo has left the building. Now, that being said, I do feel it starting to come back. But I don't like to rush it. I like to wait until I'm like, I have to knit things. And then I feel like it flows. That's just me personally. I do feel like everyone kind of at one point or another ends up in these phases. But I have taken advantage of this because while my knitting mojo has kind of slumped, I was kind of playing around with what could I do that's still crafty, because I still have that desire to do something at night, and because otherwise I'll just fall asleep on the couch. If I don't have something to do, I either play on my phone, which I'm trying not to do anyway, or fall asleep on the couch before bed. So I need something to do while we're watching a TV show or a movie or whatever. So I picked up, well, for one, tiny backstory. So while, yes, I have been knitting since I was 7 years old, so well over 20 years, actually over 23 years now. Yeah, you can backwards math my age. What I actually learned first was crochet, and predominantly through my high school years, I crocheted way more than I knit. For one, I did not have any access to, I'll say, modern knitting patterns. All I had was my grandmother's and her mother's, so my great-grandmother's knitting books, which were filled with very old style patterns. Not that I actually had modern crochet books, but there was more, I had more slightly up-to-date crochet patterns, and the only place I ever got yarn when I was growing up, because we didn't really have a lot of money, was things like Hobby Lobby Michaels. And so, for whatever reason, I don't remember there being a lot of knitting patterns available. All I remember is a lot of crochet booklets or like free crochet patterns that they would give you for different Afghans, for little cardigan type things like that. And so I mostly crocheted, and I mostly crocheted blankets. A lot of times I would make up my own patterns, but that's what I did. So, once I discovered the wonders of yarn stores, which I knew yarn stores existed because we'd gone into one when I was very young. If y'all know my story, you know that. But when I say rediscovered knitting stores in my 20s, that's when the light bulb went off. I discovered Ravelry. I discovered all the cool designers and everything else, nice yarns. Not that there's anything wrong with Hobby Lobby yarn. They've made great strides, honestly, with mass-produced commercial yarns. But there's a difference, especially when you come into garment making, finer things. It's just, there's nothing that can compare to indie dyed yarn, to high quality commercial yarns that are made with real wools, real silks, real alpaca, not acrylics and nylons and things like that. But anyway, so that's when I went head first into knitting everything in sight. And I really dropped crochet. I would pick it up here and there, and I even did like Tunisian crochet and everything else. But I noticed the more that I knit that crocheting really hurt my hands and knitting didn't. And so I just chalked it up to, it's my thumb. I won't show it on camera, but I have a very double jointed thumb. It pops in and out of, you don't want to see it. Anywho, I just chalked it up to that. And, maybe beginnings of almost like an arthritis, because every now and then just like I don't have super good grip strength in this hand and things like that. So I just put away my crochet hooks. Now, as you guys know, we carry quite a few crochet hooks now. We've really expanded. But we have different styles, and we also have the ergonomics. Well, when we got the ergonomics in last year, the first one we got in, Prim Ergonomics, was our first ergo hook. I took one home just to play around with it and really be able to give an opinion. But I started, I don't know if you guys remember, I started a crochet T-shirt, like a tank top sort of thing. Is it finished? No. I crocheted the wrong size, and actually I finished the first panel, and there's like a big giant mistake like right here, and I haven't gone back to rip it out. So it's in one of those piles of I'll deal with it later. I need to go fix it. I really just need to rip the whole thing out and start over because it's too small. Just honest opinion. I was on gauge. I just knit the wrong size. Or crocheted the wrong size. When you think you're a certain size and then quarantine happens and you are not that size anymore. That's what happened. Now I'm working on it. Y'all know I do CrossFit, all that good stuff. I am working on it. But at the same time, I think I'll still just rip it out. Anywho, where was I going with this? Oh, yes. So these crochet hooks. So I played around with it, and I did notice, my thumb's not hurting. I chalked it up to you haven't crocheted steadily in 10 years or more. You're just not used to it, so your thumb's like, oh, yay, it doesn't bother me, and it will if you do it again. So I kind of put it away again. But right now, if you go on Ravelry, there are tons of really cool, hip, modern crochet patterns out there. So fast forward back to now, when my knitting mojo went, I was like, well, maybe I'll do crochet. Maybe there's something, because I had this yarn, and I don't have a ball of it anymore because I literally used it all up and I'm waiting on another shipment. But I had this yarn. It's Santa's Garn Duo, which is a 55-45 wool cotton blend. It's beautiful yarn, gorgeous colors. And I was like, I really want to do something with this, and with it being like a cotton blend, I want something summery. And I was like, I want like an over cardigan, maybe like a beachy cover up, throw on top of a maxi dress, just something breezy, super cute. So I was going through Ravelry, and I found this. It's called the Aloha Cardigan, and I don't have a picture of it here, but you can look it up on Ravelry. Aloha Cardigan. There's also the Aloha Vest, but the cardigan was written for a sport weight. And Santa's Garden Duo is like right on the border. Is it sport? Is it DK? It can kind of morph between the two. And so y'all know typically with my knitting, I'm very loose. With my crochet, I am on the money as far as gauge. So I was able to hit gauge perfectly. And let me show you what I have. So this is the back piece. It's not completed. I have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm in the middle of my 8th, and I have to do a 9th repeat. So I have like 1.5 more. Look at this. How cute is this pattern? It's like a shell kind of open weave pattern. This is all crochet. The only stitches you're doing in here, if you're familiar with crochet, you're doing foundation chain to start, which is super easy. If you've never done one, you can always YouTube it. You can come in. I can show you double crochets, chain stitches, and single crochets. That's all that's needed to do this super cool thing. And then it has these really cool, they're kind of fitted, and then they flare, not to like a super bell sleeve, but just a nice little flared sleeve. And then you have 2 front panels, and then we'll seam it up the sides. So this has gotten me out of my, well, I won't say it's gotten me out of my knitting mojo, but it's gotten me back into creating with yarn, and I'm loving it. So see, this is all I have left of this ball. But this is Santa's Garden Duo. This color is called Dusty Aqua. I should have more being delivered today, but I do have some other colors. I am using, does it say on here? There we go. A G hook by Prim Ergonomics. And this hook does not bother my thumb whatsoever. And crochet goes fast. So this was actually 3 balls that I had left in stock. And then I'll need another 1, 2, 3, 4. I think my size, I'm doing the medium size. So I went ahead and went up just a tiny bit because I wanted it, I would rather be it on the size of oversized than too tight. And like the small would have been like a 36 bust, and that's what I am. And so this is, I think, 40 inch. So this will be nice. What was I going to say? Oh, I believe for the medium size that I'm doing, it will take 8 to 9 balls of Santa's Garden. Santa's Garden is a fairly inexpensive yarn. It's about $9. So it's not bad. You could use really, I would say, any DK to a light DK to sport, like a heavy sport, you could do if you get gauge. You may need to go up or down in your hook size. You can go up to an H or down to an F, just depending on what you do. So that has been piquing my interest. And I was kind of bummed because last night I ran out of my last ball that I had, and I have to wait. So hopefully it comes in today and I can get back on it, because I know for a fact it goes really fast. Crochet always does. So this is truly and honestly, this is 3 days of work, and I've almost got a back panel. I really only worked on it for like three days, and then I didn't work hardly at all yesterday on it, just like 3 rows, and I was out. And basically a ball a day, pretty much. So yeah. Now that being said, I have worked a little bit on my Marled Magic sweater because we have our knit-alongs on Thursday nights. So I will show you the progress on that, but then everything else I haven't touched. I do have some yarn though that I'm thinking will be my next knitting project when I decide my mojo's back or about to be back. Let me find the right side. Okay, so this is Marled Magic sweater. Marled Magic, yeah. Because that looks like a sweater, right? Woohoo! So I'm on section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right up here. And it's just this kind of textury, stripy bit, and I'm just swapping out colors kind of randomly. So you can see this was that mesh panel, and then we did this seed stitch type panel, then this one was just garter, this one was a single color brioche, and now we're doing this texture, knits and purls. And I dropped a brioche stitch that I gotta fix. It's okay. I caught it. Ooh, I've got my crochet hook here. So see? I just ran the tail through, but somehow this one got dropped. So what I'll do is I'll just dive down and do it up and then just use the tail to secure that. I won't do it on here because y'all won't be able to see what I'm doing, but I will fix that. Yeah, so then I still am going to knit my Winter's Beach cardigan out of my Tweety because I do love it. But also because right now 90% of my time that I have to knit is at night. Black yarn and night knitting don't go together. So I will be saving this for when I have either daytime knitting and plus it's cables, you know, or early morning knitting, things like that, which don't happen that often right now because we're super busy here at the shop, which is a great thing. And then I work out and, you know, life and laundry and everything else. So it will happen though. Let's see, let me put this away. Oh, let me show you the yarn that I'm thinking for this other project. So I pulled this yarn for thinking I was going to do the Amy cardigan by Joji Locatelli. Let me pull all of this out. 1, 2, 3. I'm missing one. There we go. So I pulled these 5 colors thinking I would do the Amy cardigan out of the Interpretations Volume 7, which would be really cute. It would. But I'm thinking instead I will use 3 of these colors and knit the new Moonstruck Knits Morgana shawl, which is a really pretty, it is color work, which y'all know I love color work because it's constantly changing. And I'm thinking that I will do these 3 colors. So keep it like light and kind of pastel. So this is the light gray, this is beige, oh sorry, light beige, and then this is camel. I think that would be really, really pretty. Kind of spring neutral. And no, this isn't pink. This is like terracotta. Plus, then I also do want to knit the Milatropin or the Mila top out of Senna's Garn Lini. We Googled how to pronounce it. I believe it's Lini. Kind of like Lina, but it's not so it's not Lina, or maybe it is Lina. Lina, I think, because it's like Lina magazine. I don't remember. You can Google it as well to find the proper pronunciation. Let's see, is there anything else that I want to talk about? I'm afraid I don't have a ton of stuff to talk about because I haven't been doing that much knitting, obviously. But I do, if you want to learn more about new patterns and things that are coming out, I do encourage you to watch our Instagram lives. Those happen Tuesday mornings and Friday mornings. And of course, they're always saved to IGTV, so you can watch them at any time. During those sessions, I go over a lot of new patterns that are being released and what yarns you can use for those patterns, yarn substitutions, what we recommend, things like that. Yeah, and then here I typically talk about what's happening in the shop, which we just had our big anniversary. So the next thing that we're going to be preparing for is Local Yarn Store Day. And Local Yarn Store Day is April 17th, Saturday. So definitely put that on your calendars. We will be doing both an online slash curbside Local Yarn Store Day thing, special, whatever you want to call it, and then both an in-store as well, because we know a lot of you guys aren't local but still consider us your local yarn store, and we appreciate and love that very, very much. And then we will be launching a very big partnership slash, I guess partnership is a good word. Yeah. Super exciting. That will be launching on that day along with a very exclusive pattern, an exclusive, I say exclusive, it's a thing for Local Yarn Store Day. Not like it's specific to our shop only, although we're one of the first ones to be getting it on Local Yarn Store Day. And expanding some of our other things. I don't think our hedgehog order, though, will be in time for Local Yarn Store Day. Unless Customs is super, super on the ball. They might be. I don't know. So, be sure and watch the calendar and our emails, of course, for all the up-to-date information on special events, things that are happening both on store and online, or in store and online. And then, of course, Instagram, social media, things like that for any up-to-dates on trunk shows, new patterns, kits, things like that. So we still do have a couple days left of the Cake Wool trunk show before it goes back home. So be sure and check that out on our trunk show tab. And then we will be, do I have a trunk show for April? Yes, for Local Yarn Store Day. We're going to be having one. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, we've got several really awesome things happening in May and June as far as trunk shows go. And then, of course, don't forget, we should be shipping out starting next week all of the updates, or the first month subscription to the Skein Club, which I have reopened the Skein Club should you want to grab. I think there's a final 5 boxes left. So if you want to grab one of those, now is the time to do it, because that will close, the subscription will close Monday of next week. So be sure and grab it now, because you won't be able to. I've seen the first batch because we're getting ready to start boxing those up. It's amazing what these dyers have created for us. It's just so, so, so cool. So be sure and grab that. Like I said, stay tuned to emails and social media for all the latest updates, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.